All right, good evening and welcome to AS Sociology, the first chapter, Sociological Perspective. And this chapter, of course, forms the basis of the studies and the chapters that will follow. And in this chapter, we are going to basically talk about the three great sociologists who have sometimes been referred to as the Trinity of Social Theory. And these three sociologists are Emil Durkheim or Durkheim and Max Weber and Karl Marx. And to them we are going to add one more very important thinker and sociologist, Auguste Comte. But before we start, let us just look at some of the definitions of things, because here we are concerned with the development of a society, social development. And these thinkers have basically given theories and opinions and studies and research about how societies develop and how social order is created and how it is maintained. So when we are talking about society, there are certain things that you will come across, and these things are number one. These things are number one, culture. Belief will come later. Culture. So what is culture? Culture is the way of life, the way we do things in society. All right, that brings us to two types of cultures. There are two types of cultures. There is material culture, which is reflected in the artifacts and in the objects that exist in society, and there is immaterial or non-material culture. In your book, it is referred to as non-material culture, and non-material culture is related to beliefs and ideas. And that brings us to what are beliefs. Beliefs are those things that are considered to be true by people in society, and in order to consider them true, they do not require any evidence. Despite the absence of evidence, these things will be considered true. So these are beliefs, and these beliefs and these values, they sort of play a very important role in creating social order. And what is social order? Social order are the behavioral patterns that are established in societies, and they make, within their framework, we act in society. So this is the conceptual framework, because these things will follow, and we will be discussing them in detail as we move on. So let's talk about Comte. Comte wanted to study how social order was created and social order was maintained in society, and he said that the scientific method should be used to discover the laws of social development. Now, please keep in mind, in subjects like physics, chemistry, which are the natural sciences or the positive sciences, the laws are not made. The law of motion was not made by Newton. It was discovered by Newton. So in the natural sciences, we discover the laws scientifically. So Auguste Comte is saying that just like there are laws of motion and there are other laws, there are also the laws of social development, and we must use the scientific method. It is possible and also desirable to use the scientific method to discover these laws of social development. And then he creates a methodology. There is a methodology based on that principle that it is possible to study the social world in the same way that we study the natural sciences, and therefore this school, because it is inspired by the natural sciences, the positive sciences, this way of thinking is called positivism. So positivism is essentially associated with Auguste Comte. Wherever you come across Auguste Comte, his school of thinking, his school of thought is basically positivism, whereby it is desirable to study the social world in the same way that you study the natural sciences, the same way that you study the natural world using the principles of natural sciences. That's positivism. So after doing his study, Comte says that all societies, in his study of social development, what does he say? He says all societies pass through 3 stages. Alright, they pass through 3 stages. The first stage of social development he called theological state. Theological stage. Now, what is the theological stage? The theological stage is that stage where in society everything is governed either by, number 1, religion, or number 2, sometimes superstitions. So if you go to certain tribes, some primitive tribes in Africa or in South America, over there religion is not as powerful as some superstitions are. So especially in animistic societies, superstitions have a very important role. So in these societies, religion and superstitions will be very strong. So that is the first stage. In the first stage, the theological stage, religion is a very important part. Then society goes to the second stage, which is called the metaphysical stage. Meta means high. So metaphysical means above the physical. What happens here? Here science begins to challenge the assumptions of the theological world. Science begins to question in certain cases the beliefs or religions. Science will start questioning. So this is a transition phase. Here science has not displaced religion, it has not displaced the closely held beliefs of the people, but it is questioning, it is challenging in a sense. The transition phase. So the first phase is theological, the second phase is the metaphysical, and then we come to the third stage of development, which is called the positive stage of development of society. And in this stage, science and reason are used to reveal the nature of the social world. Now everything is studied and explained in the context of and with the help of scientific rules or rationality. So these are the 3 stages according to Comte through which societies develop. Alright, so that is for this video we are covering up till here. In the next video we are going to talk about Weber and the other theorists. Alright, stay tuned. Thank you.